Hi everyone, welcome once again to this channel. After having studied demand and supply, today we want to see if there is any meaning that can come from the combination of demand and supply. And of course, there is a meaning, and that is where we go on to learn what we call the market equilibrium. But before we go to what is known as the market equilibrium, let us look at what the market is. A market is any place where buyers meet suppliers to exchange goods and services. This could be a physical market like stores, like shops, or it could be a non-physical market like online, like what most people do on WhatsApp or people do on Facebook, like international online businesses like Amazon, Alibaba, etc., etc. So in a market we have prices and quantities. So we have prices and quantities that happens in a market. So but these prices and quantities are gotten from what we call equilibrium. Equilibrium is simply a Greek word. Is a Greek word that simply means balance. It means balance. So equilibrium in economics refers to where demand is equals to supply in a market. Where demand is equals to supply in a market. Now we have two diagrams on the board here. And wherever demand is equals to supply, we have the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity, P1 and Q1. So on these two diagrams, wherever demand is equals to supply, as you can see, we have the equilibrium price and we have the equilibrium quantity. Interestingly, another name for equilibrium price or market equilibrium price or the market price, another name for equilibrium price is equally known as a market price, and it is equally known as the market clearing price. Clearing price because at this price all the excess or all the shortage in this market have been cleared. So another name for the equilibrium price is equally known as the market clearing price. Another name for the equilibrium quantity is equally known as the market clearing quantities. That's good. Now we move to a situation where there can be disequilibrium. So we have seen what equilibrium is, but now what is disequilibrium? So now there can be disequilibrium in this market. Disequilibrium now will be either where the price is above the equilibrium price or the market clearing price, or the price is below the market clearing price. Let's say, for example, we have a price above the market clearing price. For example, we have P2. So what will happen in this market? What will happen in this market? This is what will happen. So because of this P2, we have excess supply. So P2 now will favor, will cause suppliers to go with more of their product to the market. So we'll have excess supply because supply will not be the same with demand. There will be a lot of supply while demand will fall. So we'll have excess supply, and that is when we talk of disequilibrium in the market. Equally, we can equally have another disequilibrium when we have a price below. We have a price below the equilibrium price. Let's say we have P3. If we have P3, how is it going to affect the market? Now, a price below the equilibrium price will give us what we call excess demand. We are going to have excess demand. Now, this will be because at the lower price, consumers are motivated, just like we saw in our previous lessons. Consumers are motivated to buy more than what will be supplied in the market. Now, the situation of excess supply and excess demand is what we call disequilibrium in the market. But interestingly, let us look at a situation, or interestingly, the disequilibrium in this market will not last for long or will not be there forever because of what we call the price mechanism. Price mechanism. Now, the price mechanism is a system of price whereby prices are allocated according to the forces of demand and supply. We we mostly see this in a free market. So in a free market, it is difficult for disequilibrium to exist for a long time because of the price mechanism. Free market means a market where we have little or no government intervention. In other words, there is no government intervention in a free market. Now, the decisions of what and for whom to produce or the economic problems are decided by producers and consumers alone. So why is it that there will be no disequilibrium in this market, in the free market, for long? This is because of the functions of the price mechanism. So interestingly, let's look at these 4 functions. We have 4 functions on the board here. The price mechanism helps to allocate scarce resources. We are going to see how price mechanism allocates scarce resources in the next videos, in the videos that will be coming ahead. The price mechanism allocates scarce resources. How does it allocate scarce resources? By rationing out the excess demand or the excess supplies that are found in this market. Now, how does it ration out the excess demand and excess supply in this market? It gives signals that the price is too high, is either too high or too low. So another function of the price mechanism as well is by bringing out incentive to producers to change price and increase profit. So now these are the functions of the price mechanism. Now the question is, how does it now help to remove a disequilibrium in the market? Like, for example, to remove an excess supply or an excess demand. Let's go with the first situation. How does the price mechanism remove excess supply? Now, excess supply means that the price is above the equilibrium price, like was earlier explained. So this insinuates that there are a lot. How will producers know that there is an excess supply in the market? Because there will be so many goods that are lying in the warehouse, unsold products that are lying in the warehouse. Because excess supply means that there is an increase in the price, okay? And an increase in the price will lead to a fall in the demand for the product. So it means that there will be so many goods that are in the warehouse that are not bought. For example, in a restaurant, you will have idle tables, or tables will be idle, implying that customers are not willing to buy due to the increase in the price of the product. So because of this increase in the price, so this is the first situation. How will producers know? How will disequilibrium be brought back to equilibrium? We are in the case of excess supply. So the first function of price mechanism is that it will signal that the price is too high. So whenever it signals that the price is too high, it will now give, another function of the price mechanism is that it will now give these producers the incentive to change the price in order for them to make profit. Now, how will they change the price? They will now reduce their price from P2 to P1 back to equilibrium. If they reduce the price from P2 to P1, it will lead to what? A contraction in supply and an extension in demand. Movement downward along the supply curve is what we call a contraction. Movement downward along a demand curve is what we call an extension in demand. So after having signaled that the price is too high because of what is happening in the market, it would cause producers to have an incentive, creativity, to change the price, and in this case to lower the price and bring it back to the equilibrium. So whenever the price has been lowered, this will help to do what? To ration the excess supply. It will help to ration the excess supply that has been existing in this market, because P1 and Q1, as we have said, is referred to as the market clearing price and clearing quantity. It means all the excess demand and the excess supply have been cleared out of the market, and whenever this excess demand and excess supply have been cleared out of the market, it will now bring us to what we call perfect allocation of scarce resources. Only to what resources are now allocated only to what people are willing to buy, and how it can help people to buy more. So we now move to the second situation. How can a disequilibrium of excess demand be equally removed from the market? The first thing that producers will realize is that the function of the price mechanism will help them to realize that it will signal them that prices are too low. Okay, it will signal them that prices are too low. This is because there will be so much demand. Are we together? There will be so much demand because of the shortage that will be existing here. demand will be greater than supply whenever prices are too low. So there will be signal that the price is too low, and whenever there is this signal of a lower price, it will help the producers now. The function of the price mechanism is that it will help the producers now to change the price, to now increase the price back to the equilibrium, change the price so that they can now be working at a profit. So whenever they now increase the price back to equilibrium, to P1, this will lead to what? An extension in supply and a contraction in demand. Extension in supply because supply will increase, contraction in demand because demand will fall because of the increase in price back to the equilibrium. Whenever this is done, it now brings us again back to the equilibrium of P1 and Q1, and at this level it will help us to ration the excess demand and excess supply that is in the market. And whenever this excess demand and excess supply are rationed, it will still bring us back to what we call perfect allocation of scarce resources. So in a free market, a laissez-faire market, a market where there is no government intervention, disequilibrium in demand and supply hardly exists for long because of the function of the price mechanism. So thank you very much for watching. Today we're looking at the market equilibrium. See you in the next video. Thanks.